Do your kids like baked beans? Mine do. In this video, we're going to be investigating baked beans and looking into what's inside and which of the brands are the best to buy. Hi, it's Mandy from Little People Nutrition. I've gone to my local supermarket and bought a couple of different brands of baked beans. Of course, wherever you might live, there might be different supermarkets and there are so many different brands out there. But I've just chosen these 8 to give us a bit of variety of what we're looking at. The most important thing with any of these investigations is to remember we look at the front, but we also need to turn our products over and look at the back. I want you guys to learn and grow when watching these investigations and learn what to look for in each of the categories, be it the ingredients, the nutritional information, the country of origin, or understanding processed foods better. So when you go to the supermarket and you have different brands in front of you, you can also look and decipher what is in that product that you might be buying. First cab off the rank, we're going to be looking at ingredients. So let's get to it. Here we have the products in order from best roughly to least roughly. I say roughly because when we're looking at ingredients, every ingredient compilation is different. When you are looking at ingredients, the first ingredient is normally the most amount in the particular product, and the last ingredient is the least amount of product in the product. I've chosen the organic range first because it has the least processed ingredients and I can understand all of the ingredients that are in it. It's also got, it only has 45% beans, which is on the lower scale, but the ingredients are really good quality. The second one I've put here is the Heinz Beans English range, and this one has 51% beans. This one here also has 51% beans. This one here has 50% beans. With all these products, they've all got a range of ascorbic acid, sugar, salt, for instance. But when looking at the bean count, that's a really big player in terms of the quality of the product. And then when we come down to this end here, we're starting to look at some products that have some other ingredients in it. This product here, the salt reduced, the beans are at 47%, and I've placed that higher than this product here, which is at 51% beans. And the reason why I've done that for this particular product is because they haven't listed all of their allergens in there. So for instance, we've got wheat flour. The majority use maize, which is corn, as a thickener, but they use wheat in this one. And they also have milk in there, which they haven't really talked about, and that makes that a bit harder for some other people maybe to buy. This product here, the Woolworths brand, they've got 160C colour, and I really don't like giving colours to children unnecessarily. And this last product here at Bell's Farms, they've got, what was the product that they have in it? They have sugar and glucose syrup, whereas none of the rest have glucose syrup. They all have sugar in there, and it also uses rapeseed oil, which is canola oil. None of the other products have oil in them. So that's the listing for ingredients that I would roughly choose them on. So in regards to ingredients, we've got the Coles Organic at the top end, and we've got the Bell's Farms towards the bottom end. In here, it's all a little bit wishy-washy, but down towards this end, we've got some additional glucose, we've got some colors, we've got some allergens that aren't really listed, whereas the other ones don't really have that. Next up, let's look at salt. Here we are with sodium. As you can see, they've kind of changed order in here. And as you can also see, this is the sodium level per 100 grams of product. When comparing nutritional information, it's important to compare it per 100 grams, not per serve. So what have we got up here? The organic Coles brand is still at number 1, but down the bottom here, we've got the Heinz brand. As you can see, this one here is at 238 milligrams, and this is 480 milligrams down the other end. That's a huge variance. One thing I wanted to point out why it's important to look at the back of the product is if you look here on the Heinz product, it talks about being salt reduced. Now that's in comparison to its own products, not in comparison to other brands. So you need to be careful not to get sucked in by the marketing on the front, because it's still the fourth in terms of sodium. It's at 250 milligrams, whereas this one's at 228. Sodium is really important to watch out for in processed foods, especially with little ones if they do have a diet high in processed foods. Sodium is not great for the kidneys, and for little ones, their kidneys aren't functioning as high as an adult's would. Next up, we're going to be looking at country of origin. Country of origin is really important to understand where our food comes from. We're really lucky here in Australia that we have high food safety in terms of processed foods. With baked beans though, we've got only one product here at the top that is actually made in Australia, and it's got 49% of Australian ingredients within it. These three here are made in New Zealand from local and imported ingredients from New Zealand. These three here are made in Italy, and this one is made in the UK. So when you're looking at different products, it's important to try and find stuff that is locally sourced to you because of food safety, but also in terms of food miles and the environment. So only one is made in Australia in this baked bean category. Next up, we're going to be looking at cost. Here we are with cost, and as you can see, the order has changed again. You can see here the cost above the baked beans per 100 grams. We've got 15 cents all the way down to 75 cents. And although cost can be a great way to be able to choose what foods you might like to buy, we have to remember that the cost is not just financial, it's of our health. So although this one might be 15 cents per 100 grams, this is the one that has the colour in it, which I wouldn't be feeding to my children. The Bell's Farms one is again cheaper than the rest here, but this is the one that has sugar and glucose syrup and has canola oil in it. As we go down to the more expensive ones, at the end the Heinz product here is at 75 cents. But remember, these two ones are made in New Zealand, and this one here is made, these three are made in New Zealand, and this one here is made in Australia. These guys are covered by the FSAN's Australia and New Zealand Code of Conduct for processed foods, and therefore we've got more transparency over those particular products. But you can see there's a huge variation in cost, and that might be a deciding factor for you. Dun, 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 dun. So which ones would I recommend to buy? I definitely recommend to buy this organic Coles brand. I love the transparent ingredients on there and the fact that it's organic. It has a really low sodium as well, even though they don't talk about it on the front. So I really like this product, and it's not too expensive. I quite like this Coles one here as well. It's really easy to read, and it does have a low sodium content as well. And then I like the Heinz one too. It's a very great brand, and of course it's made close to us in New Zealand. So these are my top three. These guys, I wouldn't not buy them, but it's not necessarily my preference for a whole myriad of different reasons. But nutritionally and kind of cost-wise, these guys here are the best ones to buy. Well, there you go. That was our investigation on baked beans. We'd love to get your feedback if this is a kind of video or information that you find useful for your family or the children in your care. So make a comment, write us an email, or even subscribe so you can keep up to date when we have more investigations coming out. At the end of the day, Little People Nutrition is about nurturing the love of food in children at home and at school. We want to empower and inspire you to make the best choices for your family and the children in your care. Thanks for being here.